So we're back for part two. This is going to be how to sort of clean it and get all like the fine dirt and stuff off. This is definitely in a usable condition, and honestly, if it was, the middle of the summer or spring or something, I wouldn't even worry about cleaning this because it's going to just get more dirty. But it's winter, and the screen's making it look really greasy. So yeah, it's winter, so I'm just going to put the truck up and sort of just look at it all winter, because yeah, I'm not going to use it. It's wintertime out. And a lot of people do, but I don't want to. I work at a hobby shop, so I know I've seen the victims to winter time, and our pool freezes over once in a while, so there may be a video of us running them on ice, but I've done that before and it's not super bad. So we'll go over some tools. You need a cup of water. This isn't any temperature, it's just sort of out of the tap, like nothing special, just tap water. You need 2 toothbrushes, and this time it's actually important to have 2. You saw our other video, I said it wasn't really that important. Well, that was just for getting it to this point. Right now you need 2 because you need 1 for wet and 1 for dry. It's really important. You need a rag. This one's pretty long, so I'm going to use one end for wet, one end for dry. It'll probably just be for wet, but I don't know. I may sort of change my mind on that. So yeah, have at least 2 if you can. But yeah, 1 for wet and 1 for dry for these for sure, because you're going to want to sort of scrub like big chunks off that you didn't see before with the dry one. And then with the one for wet, you want to sort of just wet down all of this like fine, really just mucked on, like, I don't even know. It's just really fine mud and spray that came off the front tires and flicked under. And just, rear arms always catch more stuff than the front because they're further back and it's a 4-wheel drive truck. So yeah, we'll get started. Flipped over. This is the part of the truck that I'm mainly going to use the water on. As you can see, I've got some paint on here, so I don't want to use it too much. But honestly, I don't care because I'll redo that over the winter. I'll probably get all this stuff off too. That didn't work out as well as I wanted it to. It used to say if you can read this, flip me over. But these 2 worked well. They stayed on there because they're on the low point. So if this scrapes, this doesn't touch, and this touches, so they're in the low zone, I guess. So hey, I've got my wet toothbrush here. Glass of water, nothing fancy. And yeah, you just sort of re-wet everything. And if you haven't seen part 1 of this, you may want to watch it because it goes over just sort of how to get to this point and how to sort of clean it so that you can actually drive it and have fun with it again.
Look at that garage. Come right off. Sham, wow!
Yeah, really. So then you grab your rag, and you want to pick the wet side, obviously. And you just sort of want to scrub all and just dab all that water up. And it does look a little better. It sort of leaves like this dirty residue over the top, but I'd rather that than this. Here, I'll show you. Got that muddy versus this, which is nice and clean. That's Traxxas Slash. So, and all these little speckles are just where paint has come off. That's not mud. That is where paint is missing. On this side, it's all mud. But yeah, the mud that we just wet took off the paint, so you're gonna have to repaint that. That's acrylic paint, for the record. That's why it comes off so easy with water, because it's water based. Which is kind of my favorite part about it, because you can get it off of the truck really, really easily. It's not permanent at all. So yeah, for this, you just want to wet that. It's like this stuff, the thin mud really just turns into concrete, especially when it's from the BMX track.
Professional filming by Scar. Get your finger in front of the lens. Can't talk
It's a
either.
classic. Okay. So yeah, you just want to rub all that off. And boom, nice and clean.
Sham, wow!
This is definitely going to be a little bit dirtier of a process, so your desk is going to get dirty. You can see all the pebbles and stuff down there. But I think that's a worthy trade-off compared to having a dirty truck for the rest of this, having to look at a dirty truck for the rest of the winter. And also, by the way, this is a great way to actually support these upside down. For some reason, you can really see this. For some reason, they've got the shock towers spaced apart just enough so you can just set a wheel. Here, let me focus it. Yeah, there we go. You can set a wheel in there and it'll support it. Does the same thing up front. So you can push down on this and really work on it without having to worry about it, you know, flipping over or whatever. It's the best way I've found for free. So I'm gonna dip this again. You can see all the dirt in the cup there. You sort of wet this down. Here, I'll flip the truck over so you guys can see. So again, I gotta remove the tires because things are different. So yeah, you just sort of put it on there like that. The shock tower's there. Shock tower's there. So then, after it's wet, you just sort of wipe it down. And for some parts, like my front bumper has tons of scratches in it. So you can see that I'm going to have to wet that and sort of let it soak and scrub it with the toothbrush so it sort of brings all the mud out of those scratches. Probably due for a new one soon, but I mean, whatever, it still works. Same with like up here. This is when we did this jump and we were trying to get the slow-mo action to work. So you can see all the mud flinging off the tires, but for some reason it just didn't happen for us. So we actually never showed that in our last video. I guess it wasn't our last video, but it was in the mud. 2 muddy trucks, a BMX track, and a camera was the name of the video. And that's where all this mud came from. I think the dirt that they're using is like, I don't know, it's got to be some different blend compared to normal like dirt on your lawn, because this stuff just turns into concrete when you let it dry, which isn't really that good for our case. But I think if you went mudding or something, just in like some field or whatever with your truck or at a park or something, you should be fine, because it's more soil there versus like a, I don't know, they blend it or something. I'm not sure what the deal is, but yeah, you sort of want to, I'm pretty sure all Traxxas slash bumpers look like this, like super scratched up. I think at one time this had ridges going off of it. They're not there anymore.
Yeah.
But here, I'll show you what the difference is. So you got that. It's nice and clean and plastic again. Clean that all up really nice. There we go. Nice blue RPM A-arms, if anyone's wondering. I haven't done the rears yet because they just haven't broken. Okay, so we'll do the rear arms now. I think this might require a little bit of tear down because things are kind of in the way. I think I might take these links off and then maybe pop this and have the drive line sort of out of the way so I can really get in there with the toothbrush. So I'll do that right now. We'll do a little time lapse of that. This is the first time I'm actually going to use my new MIP tools, if you can see that. Yeah, it's the first time. I'm pretty excited, to be honest with you. So you get the 2 mil. So, yeah, you can see I've got this all torn down. I don't know what the angle. Yeah, it's pretty decent. I'll show you guys here. Okay, so you can see I've got this all torn down here. So I've got this link off to the side, just sort of flips up. That's where it normally sits.
Screw came out.
You just flip it up. It's okay. Thanks. Thanks for supporting me. One screw falls out. I'm just the worst person ever. So I've got the drive axle just sort of flopped off to the side there. And then, so yeah, I can clean everything properly with the toothbrush and the rag. This is the hub, just sort of flips down. And yeah. Okay, so we're back. I had to get a call there, so just sorry about that. But yeah, I cleaned everything off. It's pretty clean now, even compared to the other side. So yeah, I'm just going to do this link now. And basically, find the wet spot on your towel. And you just want to wipe that all down because it's like super small. So, I mean, it's one of those things you want to get dirt and grime and stuff off of things, but it doesn't have to be like super perfect either. Just wipe that. The wet toothbrush basically just wets things so you can get dirt off easier, but it also scrubs off larger chunks that you missed. Oh, there goes a bearing. Anyway, so yeah, that's nice and clean now. I'll reassemble this and show you the final, and then do a comparison compared to the right side and this left side. So we'll be right back there, guys. Comparison. Left, just cleaned it, nice and get it to focus. Yeah, there we go, nice and clean. Definitely not like it is out of the box, but honestly, if you clean your A-arms like they are out of the box, they're just gonna get dirty again. So, and there's the right side. So yeah, we're gonna clean that, finish up the bumper. Basically, it's just the same process. You wipe everything down with your wet toothbrush, and then rag it all off with the cloth there, and it comes out pretty damn clean. And I mean, you know, you just got to keep going. Like, I could get all this dirt here off if I wanted and have everything nice and shiny. It's just how long you take on cleaning. Like, obviously, I could have done a little better there, but I didn't need to because it's a basher. It's not a race truck. So, yeah, we'll finish cleaning up all the A-arms and everything, and then I'll show you how to do the inside, like the ESC motor. Probably pop this fan off. I'll show you how to do the heat sink nice. That also includes the toothbrush. Look at these wires, nice and clean. Just everything nice and shiny. Oh yeah, and this is paint for the record. I painted the TRX in there, and then I tried to do like a black, but that chunk came off for some reason. And this is also paint. It's not a sticker. Just for anyone who notices that. So yeah, we'll be right back and do the inside now. I've got the whole truck, like the whole front, it's nice and clean. Got the whole rear half pretty clean. Good enough for now. So we're gonna clean the inside. Obviously, this is a little more delicate of a process because there's nice electronics and you know, it's just a little more important. So the way this is gonna work, I'm going to lift up the ESC, I'm going to unmount it so we can get up under there, because I know there's a bunch of pebbles, there's always like stuff under there. Then we'll vacuum that out. To lift up this, the receiver waterproof box, you have to take the whole cap off, and then there's like some screws that are under the receiver, and it's just a bigger problem than I want to open right now. So we'll sort of, we'll take this off and then tilt it so maybe some stuff comes out. I don't really, it's not a huge deal. I'm pretty sure there's just some leaves and stuff. So yeah, I'm probably gonna, we'll get the screws for this ESC out, and we'll be right back. Oh, took like no time at all. Pull that out of there. So this whole thing like flops right out. Just let it sort of hang. So you can see there's stuff under there for sure. These are alternate mounting positions for like Mama Monster and all this other combos and stuff. So I'll fire up the vacuum and suck all that out. Here we go. So that was pretty good. Looks nice under there. We could clean that a little better, but I don't know. I'll probably leave it. We'll do these wires right now. Should I unplug them or not? Yeah, why not? So we'll unplug these. They just pull out. It's like a little bullet connector. And then your ESC is nice and out of your way. You sort of throw it over there. I tried to sort of like spool these wires, like twist them, but it didn't really work out that well. And then they just connect into those holes. So yeah, again, you're gonna get your wet toothbrush and your wet rag. This time, you're going to just take your toothbrush, come over here to the water. Take your toothbrush, dip it, and just tap it on the rag. So it just sort of creates a nice little wet spot.
How dirty the water is now.
Back over here. grab your wire, just sort of wrap that around all the water. It should come pretty clean. For just the first wipe, it's definitely not great, but ain't bad either. So yeah, a couple of wipes on each wire. I think actually I'll take the motor fan off right now, because that's kind of in the way I just lift right up. Okay, so now you can see a lot more of the wire. Again, there was a little clippy thingy that sits in this hole down here. You can see it. No, it's not going to focus. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about if you have a slash 4x4. I just did that screw to put in here, which I lost again, and now it's like a, I don't know, some sort of button or socket-headed screw from something. It's been a shoulder screw for a shock for a while. I just keep losing that screw because you take it off quite often. But yeah, so we've got more of the wire exposed now, so you might even want to pull it through. Obviously you don't have to do that, but I'm going to pull it through there. Get my rag back, find the wet spot, and keep on cleaning those wires. Okay. So you sort of want to wipe each one. I find dirty wires really just makes it look bad. It doesn't change the performance of the truck or anything like that. It just doesn't look good to me. I like to have everything clean because at work I see enough sort of abuse and neglect of RC vehicles, so it's nice to be able to have mine looking good, especially for over the winter when I'm just going to be looking at them. That's all I'm going to be doing. So I feed this back through. All that does is just sort of keep it over to the side. Keep the wire, just sort of replaces that little clip thing so that they're not like way over. So to clean the ESC's heatsink, basically you wipe off all the dirt that is on it, like you can see. So again, just with your rag, find that little spot we made. There it is. And you just want to wipe everything. Wipe that, wipe that. Just get it nice and clean. That little button fascia part, nice and clean. Get up under there, unhook that wire so you can clean all that. Looks pretty good. We're back here. This is zip tie. Just the end. It's what I usually use to clean out the fins on the heatsink. So you just want to sort of slide it through each one, and it'll push little pebbles and pieces of mud and like stuff out of there. There's a decent little piece of grass in there. All this does is just sort of clean it out, and all those little pebbles and pieces of mud and everything will just sort of promote heat, and the heatsink does the opposite of that, gets all the heat out, and it's also cleaner now, which is always a bonus. So you brush everything off a little more. There's some stuff down in there, but not a big deal. There's carpet fibers from the track, so yeah, you mount this, plug those back in, and we'll be right back. Alright everybody, this is going to be the conclusion to our how to clean your RC part 2. This is being shot a couple days later. Between work and a few other things, I just sort of got busy. So ended up sort of just finishing it the other night there. I'll turn it around here. you can see better. But yeah, everything's pretty well cleaned. To clean this case, I took it off and then just wiped it down with a wet rag. And to clean the servos, pretty much the same thing. Underneath the motor wasn't that bad. It was just sort of dusty, so I just wiped that again. Same thing. This little cover on the end of the motor, when I ended up doing this little cover here. Everyone knows that there's a plastic, clear plastic cover over top of this if you have a slash 4x4. And I had to, you have to remove the ESC is the easiest way to get it off. So, well, I had the ESC off. I took this black cover for the motor off and wiped it all off too. So everything is pretty well clean. This foam block was downstairs. It has some like muddy spots on it, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about that. And the only thing next is the tires, and I'd say to clean them probably again with a wet toothbrush and just scrub all the dirt out of it, or maybe even a dry toothbrush and just scrub all the dirt. I don't know. But we're actually planning. I don't know, can you see it the window? Yeah, we're planning on going. We're gonna drive on top. Our snow has a good layer of ice on top of it, so our whole backyard's like a huge ice rink right now. So, like tomorrow morning, we're probably going to go driving on that. So I think that'll clean the tires well enough, so that yeah we can, just not have to actually wipe them down. But yeah, we'll have an intro to that to show you how we're going to drive on snow and water and stuff without wrecking things. So yeah, look for that video. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, like, and comment. And yeah, thanks for liking our stuff. See you next time.